All right, welcome to this special part 3 masterclass with Rick Barker, the social media marketing mastermind that helped launch Taylor Swift's Fair. In this special episode, we'll dive deeper into how you can hyper accelerate your organic growth on social media. If you're looking to grow your business or your personal brand fast, then don't miss out on these amazing tips. Enjoy.
So here we are, the final video of this module, and we are going to talk about how to accelerate organic growth. Now I'm starting to get an accent like Pedro. Okay, so we have this 1,000 true fans concept. It's from a guy by the name of Kevin Kelly. A lot of people have talked about it, but what the gist that he was trying to get through to everyone is that you don't need everyone. People seem to think that they have to have massive amount of people in order to be successful. So in the 1,000 true fans model, what he basically says is this: if you have 1,000 fans, and he was speaking to a group of musicians, and this can apply to anyone, and they spend $100 a year with you, you've made $100,000. So what you need to do is go build relationships with these 1,000 true fans. I even went a step further with musicians that I work with, and I'm like, look, if you got 1,000 people, they give you $50, you're making $50,000 a year. You're making more than a lot of teachers, a lot of, first-year law students, a lot of people doing maybe what they don't like. And they were like, okay, I never really thought of it like that. And I said, but if you like Louis Vuitton and you need more money and things like that, there's this great guy by the name of Jay Abraham who said, hey, there's only 3 ways to grow a business. You need to get more customers, you need to raise your prices, and you need to give them more opportunities to buy. And that's how you can increase the growth with your 1,000 fans. Because like we talked about, everyone wants stadiums. I cannot tell you the number one thing when I sit down with an artist: what's your goal? I want to play stadiums. And then I have to explain to them, do you know that there's maybe 24 artists in the world that can fill stadiums? And then all of a sudden, you guys are going to love this story, Pedro, Daniel, is that bands started claiming that they were selling out stadiums. I'm like, how are you guys selling out stadiums? You have 4 songs. You've been around for like 2 years. Comes to find out is they were minor league baseball stadiums that hold like 1,000 or 1,500 in these little tiny cities. But they were announcing that they sold out. Our stadium tour, headlining stadium tour, is sold out. And I'm like, that's like someone who sits around and believes that just because they have a million followers is that they have a million fans. And that kind of brings us to what we want to talk to you a lot about in this particular module, is that fans, they do not equal followers.
Wow.
And that's super important, because right now we were talking about this and we were discussing it. And it's one of those things that I actually said there were 3 levels of fandom. And then after spending some time with Pedro and Daniel, we were like, no, there's actually 5 levels of fandom. So the first level is real easy. It's casual.
Let me before we get in the 5 levels, Rick. You just got me thinking. Okay, fans versus followers. So Pedro and I, we were privileged to be able to do an event for 7,400 people. We're super grateful. People dream of being able to do an event for thousands of people. We were one of the lucky few, the top 1% or whatever it is that achieved that level. But if you do the math, I mean, we have well over 1 million followers, but we only got 7,400 people at an event. And that's the big difference here, because when it comes to true fans, okay, so our number of true fans, maybe it's, 10,000 people, and we got 7,400 of them to come to one of our events. But then that's, okay, if we have over 1 million followers, that's 990,000 followers that aren't true fans. And so what I love about everything that you explained, and that anchoring that expectation is that, well, okay, that's fine. We don't need 1 million real true fans. We only need 1,000. But, you know, anything above that's great. If you can get 5,000 true fans, 10,000 true fans, that's all you need in order to be that niche celebrity, be that authority in your niche, and live your dream out. I mean, you don't need more than that in order to sustain your business for the rest of your life, basically, if you achieve just 1,000 or a few thousand real fans. So I love that concept. Love that.
And that's one of the main reasons you don't want to buy fans. You don't want to run contests where you're giving away money and cars and, you know, dinners with Rick Barker, because you get all
no one would enter.
Oh, they would. Some would enter. Some would enter.
So a lot of people would want in just because they want the prize, and once they see they're not getting or they didn't get it, you know, they were just like, they're just filler. And you don't want that. So it's really ridiculous when you have people like, you have Instagrammers, you have YouTubers and digital influencers going to restaurants and say, you know what? Can we dine for free? Because we can, you know, we can show you, I can post and I can talk about you on my account. And like, okay, yeah, let's do that. So you take a look at the account. And when you go and you click on followers or fans, and you take a look at their profiles, they're like aliens, right? People, they don't speak the language. They don't live in the country. You go to their profiles, they're like zombies. They didn't post anything. So like you have all this inflated numbers, and now you post something to your 1 million fans, you have 3 comments. This is just ludicrous. So let's keep that in mind, right? Followers are not fans. Even real followers are not fans. And with this strategy we're going to share with you right now, it's going to make a lot more sense.
Well, and it's going to take time. And that's the thing I think people feel. There was a time when you needed to see that many followers. You needed to have so many followers on social because those were the only people that your post would be seen with. But now that we have ads, which Daniel's going to talk about in the next module, you can get to those people. So the key right now is not to, what's the best way to say it? Upset your organic growth. Now there's this principle, and this just came to me. I was watching a video on it today. It's the 10-10 principle. So what happens is, this is with Instagram. So when you post something to Instagram, they're going to show it to the 10% of the most engaged people that you had in the first 10 minutes to determine whether or not they expand your reach. So they call it the 10-10 formula. So if you've gone out and bought a whole bunch of followers, what happens if your stuff, when they post it? So Facebook just says, okay, you've got 25,000 fans. We're going to go show it to this number of people. And if nobody's responding, your reach is going to be very low. What if those are all the people you bought just to try to impress your friends? Gary Vee says it. We spend more time spending money trying to impress people we don't like. So don't do that, okay? That's the step, is we want these to be real because this is a real business. So as we mentioned, number 1, casual fan, you got the like. Congratulations, you got the follow, you got the subscriber. Level number 2, they're the likers.
That casual is that's the vanity number.
Right.
If it's a person that only followed you and then there's no engagement afterwards, okay, it helps you look good. Okay, I got the 1 million followers, but you know, that person, they haven't seen your posts for years. Maybe they're not even on that social network anymore.
And there's Rick, there's a great story. In Brazil, they have the show The Apprentice, just like in the US. And last year, they ran that show only with influencers, right? So they had all these influencers for like all over, right? From different industries, travel, food, and you know, like fashion and everything. So at one of the tasks they needed to do, they were relocated and taken to another place, and they couldn't have their phones on them, right? That was part of the contract. And Daniel and I, we have a friend that was a part of the show.
Oh, okay.
And then he was there, and so he was telling us all these backstage stories that people don't know about. So about the show. And he was telling us they gave them a phone and say, okay, you have 5 minutes to post something to your fans and let them know that in 3 hours, we're going to be at this location, and as many people as you know possible, invite them if they can come, because we're going to be running these numbers and do this competition and everything. So our friend, he at the time he had over like I don't know 300 followers on Instagram. Not too much, right? 300,000 followers.
Yeah.
300,000 followers. He was competing with people that had 4 million fans. And then he was like, okay. So he did a few stories, hey guys, I'm going to be at these, if you want to come, it's going to be great and everything. He got over 50 people to come. And the person that had over 4 million fans got like 6 people to come. So like every time we talk about real influence, that story just hits home to me, because that's proof. That's proof. It's not about the numbers. So when Dino said, that's vanity number, the fans, every time people are bragging about their fans, be suspicious and go take a look at their engagement.
That's a great point. That is a really good point. So the likers, these folks are starting to say, okay, I'm going to start showing a little support here. So you've got the casual fan, you've got the likers. They're going to start liking your post. They just don't like your page now. They're starting to like your post. Now, the difference with that is the thumbs up, the like, there's really not a commitment level yet there. It's real easy. You can go down and heart everything. It takes no problem whatsoever. This is where the love starts to happen, is the commenters. Now someone is willing to say, and they will start filling this out. Now they start to engage in the conversation. It's the commenters. They're the ones that are going to start sparking the algorithm. So when people tell me how many fans they say, I say, no, I don't care how many fans. I want to know how many engaged followers you have. The likes, that's the first level of engagement. The comments, you chuck that up onto the board as like, this is what people, once you start getting comments, now it's a different level of engagement. And then,
And please pay attention to the type of comments. So I've seen people doing promotions and contests where they say, you know what? Share the first emoji you have in your keyboard. So they have thousands and tens of thousands of comments, crappy comments. And and Algo, our friend, algorithm, he's not dumb. He knows the difference, right? So even if you have thousands of comments, think about the emotional engagement. People are not emotionally and intellectually engaged with you. It was like a robot, maybe their dog could have pushed the button and published that emoticon. So the type of comments I love, it's when they open their hearts. So you have the first level, just posting random crap, right? The second level is saying, Rick, this was a great video, the great post, thank you. That's, being polite. The third level is when they engage with you and say, you know what, let me give you another point of view. And they're creating content now, because they can't copy and paste that comment. They have to think. That's engagement. That's real engagement. And level 4, the level I admire the most, is when they open their hearts. And then you can see this community coming together and helping each other, because people are touched by other people posting that, because they can tell it's from the heart. So real influencers and real celebrities and real authorities have the power to make people open their hearts. And eventually they're going to open the wallets, but that's not the goal. They need to open the hearts first. They open their minds first. They open their hearts later. Eventually they would buy something from you. So think about that, when you read the comments, think about these 4 levels and figure it out if it's real engagement there.
Yeah. I want to mention real fast. A lot of that 4th level that Pedro mentioned is when people, they start to share their own personal stories. They're like, I loved your story, Rick, so much, or I loved your story so much, Pedro. Now I'm gonna take the time to, I'm actually going to write a little article of myself in your comments. And sometimes because we get so many comments, sometimes we're like, oh my gosh, look at this big thing that I have to read from this person. It's just like, it's like 3 pages if you like put it in Microsoft Word, and you're like, oh my gosh, but resist that oh my gosh feeling, because when you have those people commenting, sharing their stories, and it's, you know, a page, 2 page, 3 pages long, that's when you know that you're reaching that level of celebrity and authority that we're actually going for. That's when you're following the AIRDA model instead of the AIDA model on social media, because people are opening their hearts, they're connecting to you, and they love your stories, and they want to share their stories, and they're turning in to true fans. So resist that temptation, because sometimes if you get too many of those comments, then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be sitting here for hours. No, be thankful that you're sitting there for hours, because your check that if that's, you know, part of your goals, is guaranteed once you hit that level of comment on your.
Plus, think about the intelligence you can gather. Because people are telling, right? They're telling their pains, they're telling their worries, they're telling specific things about their lives. So if a fan shares, you know what? Yesterday, I was coming back from college, and while I was driving my car, I kept thinking of this conversation I had with my professor. Stop right there. Look at how much information he's sharing with you about his life, his routine. And if you include that in your messaging from now on, you're going to impact and attract so much more from that customer. So that's golden right there.
Well, and let's say you're an author and somebody tells you how this chapter in your book had such an effect on them. The worst thing that you could do is just write, thank you. And so algorithm, our buddy, algorithm. So there's these things called engagement groups. And what engagements groups, and they mostly happen on Instagram, is they're like, hey, we're this group of people, and every time you post, we're going to comment on your post. And they started doing the emojis. So it was 2 flame emojis for lit and the fist pumps and all this stuff. So Al caught wind of what was going on. And now the algorithm looks for 3 words. There has to be at least 3 words for it to start crediting as a true conversation, as a true comment. So that's why if you can ask questions. So if someone says something to you and you're trying to do it real fast, thank you and their first name. Oh my gosh, Rick, thanks so much for sharing that. I appreciate it. Okay, I'm going to give you a little ninja trick. You can get a virtual assistant that can learn to speak a little bit in your voice to solve those. My assistants will give me a list and say, I need you personally to go answer these 25 because they're a little bit deep, but we've taken care of, you know, people will hit me up on Instagram and it'll say, hi. I usually just delete those half the time anyway, so have a virtual assistant monitor to give you the ones that you need to hit. But like what Daniel just said, that's just money waiting to be, that's a check waiting to be cashed at some point when that happens. So watch out for the engagement groups. Give yourself, if you're going to ask a question, make sure that it's not a yes or no type question. So you could say, hey, tell me who you are and where you're from. Hey, what are your favorite books right now? What movies should I go see this weekend? That's always one that everyone wants to comment on. And for the ladies, hold up 2 pairs of shoes and say, which ones should I wear tonight? And every woman will give you an opinion on what color shoes you should have. Those are the ones that go viral, are those simple little questions.
Wow.
So, all right, just a couple little extra secrets there. Okay, so now that we've got the commenters, after the commenters, this is where we start to use the word fans. You notice we haven't used it up to this point. The fans, they're the ones doing the comment consistently, sharing, and they cherish all the posts that you do. There's not a post that goes by that you know, well, I'm going to see Bob on this one. Oh, Bob's, Millie's always the second one. She always comes in. Those are who your true fans are. And those are going to be different conversations that you're going to start having with those people. One of the things that we started doing, and I've got the artist, is I'm getting them to start identifying who these fans are, who are the ones leaving the comments, who are the ones doing the sharing, and then they're sending them, we talked about it in the last video, a direct message, now inviting them into a private group. We're now letting them behind the curtain, and that message is kind of as follows. I'm so excited. I just wanted to say thank you for your support, and I have created a very special place for people like you that have shown so much love and appreciation for what it is that I do. I have a private group, and I would love to send you an invite. Just tell me where to send it. And we've started building our email list off of Messenger by telling them we have something we want to send them. And then when they get invited into the group, because here's the thing, right now, not everyone's going to see your post, but the activity in the group is a lot easier. You could even make, to join the group, one of the requirements is tell me the email, your best email, and you're able to collect. So when you start identifying those fans and they know that you know who they are, and then you take them, it's like the velvet rope at the club. You know, it's like, come on, you don't have to wait in line. And you pull back the velvet rope, everybody wants to get in. That's what this Facebook group is. That's going to show them that you know them, and that's going to take them to that next level of fandom. And the next level of fandom that we are so excited to get into right now are the super fans. This is where the money is. They are the ones asking you, what can I do to support you? What have you got to sell me? They're the ones that when you release the VIP tickets, they buy them the quickest. They're the ones that never ask you what it cost. They just want to know how they can get it. That's where we're trying to get people to right now. In the music space, we do a lot of bundling for these super fans. We let the casual fan pick up the stream. Hey, thank you. You've gone to Spotify. You've supported me with the stream. The next fan's going to do the download, buy the CD. The next one wants to know, no, I want the $50 autograph vinyl. I want the t-shirt. I want the backstage to the concert tickets. I want everything. Once you start building up those super fans, that's the 1,000 true fans. The 1,000 true fans to me are the super fans because they can guarantee you an income every single year. And those are the ones that are looking for ways to spend money with you. I have a client, his name's Marty Ray, and he came to me. He had 400,000 followers on his YouTube channel, but he wasn't making any money. Just off of the videos, he's like, Rick, I got to make more money. I said, then we need to get him from subscribers to an email list, and then we need to make him an offer. So we worked for a little while, and I said, just go on Facebook, start getting them to this thing. We got a group of people together. And then I said, I want you to do a higher priced concert. We're going to do an online concert. I said, you can use my Zoom. We'll do it on Zoom. I said, but we want to sell 75 tickets, but we only want to make 100 of them available, or $100 tickets, 75 of them available. We're going to keep 25 as giveaways to kind of nurture the pot, create some excitement. He goes, there's no way I'm going to get anybody. They don't even come to, I said, no, trust me, we're going to make it an experience. They're going to get the video. We're going to let them pick the set. We're going to take the set list to put it on a t-shirt. They're going to get handwritten lyrics. So you'll sign the different things. So what we did was we created this experience at a higher price where our cost of goods was only about $22 with everything shipped. But we let them feel like they picked the set list. They did everything. We used Eventbrite to sell the tickets. We emailed them a Zoom link. And soon as we were done, he didn't leave Nashville, made $7,500, didn't have to leave Nashville, no expenses, no hotels, no anything. The first comments that started coming in, when's the next one? When's the next one? He's like, dude, so he's done like 6 of them right now. So this year alone, he's made almost $70,000 just off of 6 little concerts that he did online, because when we say there's only 100 tickets available, there's only 100 tickets available. When we show the fun that everyone was happening, but what's interesting about that, it's about 30% are the repeat customers. They're wanting to get their ticket because they know how fast they go out and they don't want anybody else. And I'm like, Marty, you're singing the same songs, but it's the same people that are wanting to buy all this stuff. So it's interesting when that happens. When you can get them to that level, that will absolutely change the game. So
And
once we've got,
all I gotta say is I love the internet.
yes, it is the best venue ever. And I had sold out shows on the internet. I had a sold out show on Facebook the other night.
That's awesome. Oh, that's such a good.
Yeah, I sold out my Instagram Live. Didn't you, Pedro? You sold out your Instagram Live.
Yeah, I think it's one thing that comes to my mind, you know, by hearing this type of stories is the importance of understanding that sometimes your super fans are not the ones that spend the most money with you. Sometimes, a lot of times they are, sometimes they're not. Just because they can't, they try, but they can't. But they add value in different ways. So our most expensive option, it costs about $5,000 to come to our event. So it's called the Red X class. And you have, you know, a private event the night before. There's some really cool things. And some people that come to that event, of course, you know, like they bring their wives and stuff. So they're spending a lot of money just to be there. We're not selling them any courses, anything. It's just the experience. And you would think, right? Oh my gosh, if someone is spending that type of money, they should be super fans. And a lot of times it's the first time. They just got to know us a few weeks earlier. That has happened. And they were like, yeah, they are first class customers. Everything they do with their first class, right? And sometimes there are people that have been to every single event we've done in the cheapest option, right? They're right there behind, and they can't afford, but they are there. Every live you do, they are there. They're sharing, they're commenting. They purchase maybe your entry product, right? And they tell everybody, and you know them, you know their names. So keep that in mind. You know, money is a filter, but it's not the most fair filter. You have to take other things into account.
So I told you we kept 25 tickets that we put aside. What we've done with everyone we've ever done with this is we've scholarshiped a few people, and we let the fans nominate the other super fans. So usually it's the people that are in the Facebook group, because they know who's going through hardships. They know who is always doing the things you don't see, the things that we don't see above. But that's where you're able to utilize these extras. And that's where you're able to reward people to say, I see you, and this is how we do it. But when we let the fans do it, oh, it turned into something so special, because everyone was nominating. You could tell who the workers are, because you would always see the same three people nominated. And then what Marty always did is he always gave all three, the same ones that kept popping up over and over again. Because you're right. There's a lot of people that, I always say, one of the sayings that I use a lot is convenience and opportunity don't always go hand in hand. And I like what you brought up about there's those first class customers that sometimes are pains in the butts too. And they have this, they put this high demand on you that a super fan wouldn't. They have this different level of expectation that a super fan wouldn't. So yeah, be careful.
And if we're talking about big venue, right? And a big event or a big artist, things break, things go wrong, unexpected things.
Helicopters are late.
Yeah, all those things, they happen. So you have to, you know, dance with the chaos. So I think a lot of times it's just so refreshing knowing that, you know, maybe the power went out. I don't know. Your super fans, they don't care.
Right.
They're like, whoa, this is so cool. They start filming. It's like, they don't care. Everything is part of the experience. People, they're not fans. They are the they are that type of pain in the butt type of customers. Oh my gosh. Every little thing's like, why is this misplaced? Why are we late? Like, oh my goodness, really? You wish if I knew that before. So that's another reason of having super fans. It's so cool. Everything for them is just fun.
Yeah, you remind me, Pedro. I once at one of our events, and Pedro's used to this way more than me, but I had a line of people waiting to take pictures with me. which I love, of course. And about 50 people through the line, this lady comes up to me and says, "Hi, Daniel. I'm not here to take a picture with you. I just wanted to let you know that I really was disappointed with how things went yesterday. The event didn't start on time," and started listing off all these things.
What?
Like, okay, thank you, thank you for letting me know. We're doing our best, and thanks for the feedback. And yeah, it's an interesting world, right?
That is hysterical. That is hysterical. To wait in line just to be able to share with you
Yes,
that the event
she literally waited in line for 30 minutes in order to tell me that the previous day sucked. So
there you go. There you go. So once again, 5 levels of fandom: the casual fan, the likers, the commenters, the fans, ultimately trying to get people into the super fans. But what if we told you or asked you this question: how to accelerate the organic growth? Is there a way to make this happen faster? Because everyone's been told that organic is slow. Well, guess what? You're in luck, because there is a way. Step number 1, write these down. Leave comments and add value.
Wow.
Leave comments and add value.
So much for a secret technique.
What were you saying earlier, Pedro, about common sense? It isn't always common practice.
Exactly. Common sense.
This goes back to the groups, the mistake people make all the time. They go into these Facebook groups, and their reaction is that, oh, look at all these potential customers. No, if you're going to win inside these groups or on other people's pages, you comment, you add value, and then you get noticed, and all of a sudden people start following you. There's no secret behind it. It's a slow process, but you start to gather those true fans.
So Daniel is speaking his own truth right now, because we've talked about this. We're part of Russell Brunson's ClickFunnels. And every time I go into the Facebook group in ClickFunnels, I see a Daniel Den post. But not just a post, I see also Daniel Den responding, because Daniel Den has engagement post. He doesn't, if they don't engage, he don't post them. So it's Daniel Engagement Den. That's what his middle name should be right now. But that's the one thing I've noticed, that you're always in there following up with what it is that you do, and you can't sell in that group. So it's not like he's got a motive to be able to go in and sell. He can't sell in there, but he also has 500,000 Facebook fans too.
Thanks for sharing this with me. I'm just so glad to know he has time to spare. I'm just so glad.
Well, it's because he's not on Instagram, Pedro. So Facebook is his jam.
Oh my goodness.
Facebook is his jam. But what he's doing is, and here's what's interesting. This is what's interesting about this, just general observation. Most of it is recycled content that's already proven to work over on his Facebook page. So it's not like he's, oh gosh, here I am in a new group, I have to think of something new. He's like, I had a winner over here. We talked about that before. Content, recycle your winners. I had a winner over here, so I'm going to go test it out. Remember that thing he told you? He drinks his own Kool-Aid, folks. He drinks his own Kool-Aid.
Yeah, minimum viable products all day, every day. I'm doing little tests, doing little hooks. And I've actually done the opposite of what you just said as well, Rick. I've tested in groups, in Facebook groups, something that I'm going to post on my Facebook page. So I go in the group, and then I start there first. And then I'm like, it was kind of missing the mark. So I'll adjust it, maybe switch up the image or something, or switch up some tips before I go and post them on my page. So it goes both ways. MVPs all day, every day.
Testing.
Things, test.
Let me ask you this, and this is just a question that popped into my head. Because you have access to the free group, and you also have access to the group where the people have paid good money to be in there, do you test out different things? Because if we've got your public figure page that we're teaching people to set up, and now they've got this group, and then they have a paid group, how do you treat them different?
I just go with the feeling. I understand the dynamics within each group. I realize that in the higher level groups that you're not gonna go in there and waste people's time. So when you post something, use the really good hook. You use something juicy, right? So I just fill out the dynamics of each group and make a educated decision.
Good. 'Cause I know you're doing it a lot, and I need to follow that guide. So yeah.
Yeah, Rick, we were talking about before about how you as the celebrity need to pay respect and gratitude to people that are leaving comments, high quality comments, right?
Right.
Now we can switch places. Now you have to think of how people will perceive you when you go to their account and you're leaving comments. So when you say comments and go there in comments and add value, it means add value. So watch the video, read the post, think about that. I've done this countless times. I've taken 30 minutes to create a mini post that for sure I know for sure, I can bet money is going to be the most liked comment in the thread, just because I took the time to do it. So you see, there's a strategy behind it. I go to Rick's page and he's talking about, family, and he's sharing something that's really cool. I will go there and think, okay, from what I've seen from Rick so far, because I know this, I've seen this, I've read this post and everything, what can I say that is true to me? I'm not lying, but I also know that it's going to be something that would add value to other people in that community. And when you go to different accounts or groups, you can talk about different things, but the strategy is the same. You have to be the person that consistently, every time you leave a comment, it's the most liked comment. It's the most commented comment, because that's authority. People will see that. And that's the fastest way to get into someone's radar that you admire. A lot of times I don't have connections, right? I don't know what to do. So just go there and consistently leave comments, that type of comments. I have given this advice to our clients and customers, and like people in hours got a response from someone they admire saying, you know what? I loved your comments. So I went to your Facebook page, or I went to your Instagram account, and tell me about your work, because this is amazing. You see how Rick was talking about how you need to be prepared and well-positioned. So when people come to you, they will say, whoa, 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 this guy is the real deal, right? And now because of one comment, a lot of times it's all it takes. It's one comment, but it has to be very high quality comment.
Yeah, you reminded me, Pedro, and I'm mentioning this to remind people to be patient. One time, I think it was on one of Grant Cardone's posts. I was like, you know what? I've got the perfect answer, and people are gonna love this answer. And I took 30 minutes, right, and just poured my heart into it, and it got a few likes. And I was like, dang it! But it's hit and miss, right? So it's consistently add value. It's not oh, I'm gonna do it once and see if it worked. It's not, oh, I tried it last week one time or two times and I wasn't the most liked. No, it's get out there, it's engage with people, it's consistently add value. And then, 1 out of 10 comments, 1 out of 15 comments, everybody's liking and everybody's commenting. And all of a sudden you're in front of the influencers that maybe are the ones that are on your Dream 100 list.
That ties back to the Dream 100 list. Right? Yeah. So you're not going all over the place.
Right.
And I would just share something else before I, Rick, I give it back to you. Just something else is, you see what Daniel was talking about? Don't give up, go there and try. People's BS radar is on. If they read your comment and they can tell you're just trying to promote yourself, that's it, man. That's like, you're killing your brand. You sound desperate. So don't do that. Be like truly abundance mindset. Truly, you're not there to take, you're there to give consistently. And otherwise people are going to notice.
And the other thing too, is that don't be afraid to go back in after you've left comments and reply to the other comments, because I don't know if you've ever looked when you go to your Facebook page, the most relevant comment always comes up first. You have to switch it to say the most recent. You have to switch it to say newest. you can keep yourself relevant by showing up every day and just typing something else and adding more value to the value that you've already brung. So those are some more of the little ninja things, but you want to be, like I love when Pedro said, you want to be the most relevant. The best way to do that is to check back in on that. Check your notification bell at the top of your Facebook page and see when people have commented to your comment. Keep that conversation going. That's what algorithm wants, is to keep the conversation going. Okay, that's step number one. How to accelerate organic growth. You guessed it. We have a step number two for you. What is that step? Well, it's called the meal plan posting strategy. Now, this is something that I came up with, and the reason that I came up with this was for discoverability. What we have to remember is that, and this was happening with artists that I had that were on American Idol, or they were on The Voice, or one of those big singing competitions. I said, people are going to discover you on their weapon of choice. So if it was an older audience, they might be on Facebook. If it's Instagram, if it's a younger audience, Twitter, wherever. I said, but here's what you need to do. You need to give them something for breakfast. You need to give them something for lunch. And you need to give them something for dinner, especially with Facebook. Facebook is what I like to call the appointment social. Some people may check it before school or check it before work. They get a lunch break, they'll check it at lunch. They may check it, before they leave the office. If you're like my wife, you'll check it before you go to bed. It's one of those things where you're jumping in at all times. Well, remember, the way people consume Facebook is they never really go to your page. You're hoping to show up in their feed. So if you're only scheduling once a day and it was at 8 o'clock and Daniel didn't get a break until 11, Daniel's not going back to 8 a.m. to see what he's missed. He's just kind of seeing what shows up in front of his face. Now, on Instagram, it's pretty instant. But the other reason that I like that process is because when people discover you, they're going to say, okay, I'm going to go see what he does on Facebook. If they see that you haven't posted in a few days, or all you do is promote yourself, because they're coming to your site one time. It's that first time. So my suggestion is this: have a pinned post on your Facebook page that's some of your best, most social proof content that's available to you. So Daniel's got some posts that have, 100,000 views on a video. Pin that thing to the top, then let him see that you're constantly doing things. On Twitter, there's still people that hang out on Twitter. It's like all the hashtags that you see at sporting events, they're all Twitter hashtags. During the Super Bowl, they're Twitter hashtags. So don't forget about Twitter, but give them something for breakfast, give them something for lunch, give them something for dinner. Quick thing on this: breakfast for me, it needs to be on, I like to motivate people. They're just getting up. Why would I try to sell them something? They just got up. They're not waking up to go to the mall, unless you're my wife on certain days. But that's a whole nother module. So in the morning, I'm a big motivational, I'm a big quote guy. That's the kind of thing I am. Middle of the day, people are starting to drag a bit. I'm going to go find something that's trending. I'm going to go find a funny cat. I'm going to go find the funniest TikTok I can, share it across on my Instagram stories, maybe invite them to a live that I'm doing later that night. Now you can start teasing in. And then the latter one, I usually like to teach. I usually like to bring some sort of value based on what it is that I do, with a call to action to go grab a free copy of my book or go check out a free webinar. But just make sure that you're posting. All these things can be scheduled. It's so easy to schedule. And then the third secret for each and every one of you is real easy. Step number 3, start doing collabs. We just talked about it in the last video. Some of you have already put in the Facebook group that you started doing it. Some of you have already started making excuses. No más excuses, right? No más excuses. Collaborate, collaborate, collaborate. And you may find those collaborators inside of the Facebook group. And that's what I want you to understand, is that none of these things that we're giving you, from what I know, I could be wrong. I'm only speaking for the United States. I don't know what's going on in Brazil. None of the tips that we've given anyone has killed anyone. No one's died. No one's missing. The only thing, I mean, the people that didn't do it didn't really have anything going on, but those people that have taken our advice, they're doing really well right now. We're not trying to sell you something that's not obtainable. All of this stuff can be done.
Yeah, and it's not that hard to make a weekly goal with your collaborations. I mean, seriously, like if your fan base is only 50 people or only 100 people, that's okay. That's okay. There's people that, you know, they only have a few hundred fans as well. And okay, you jump on their Facebook live or their Instagram live or whatever it is, or their podcast. You just jump on, you talk for 10, 15 minutes, and then all of a sudden you got a few more fans. And it's a snowball effect, because once you get up to, oh, now I have 10,000 fans, or now I have 20,000 fans, and now I'm collaborating with people at my level or higher. Once you get to those levels, just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, because what happens is people want to follow the people that are consistent and where there's the social proof behind it. There's the social proof that says it's okay if I, Daniel, then hit that like button, because there's so much social proof behind how many people are really following that person. So it can be tough at times to go from, 0 to 1,000 fans, or 1,000 to 5,000 fans. But once you get past, 5,000, 10,000 people, okay, there's enough social proof where people will follow you if they see that you're being consistent, if you're worth following. And that's why that's so important, the technique that Rick teaches with breakfast, lunch, and dinner. People want to see that you're consistent because they want to feel like it's worth following you.
Oh my gosh, that's a power phrase right there, man. Being worthy, being worth following. Being worth following. Think about that. A lot of people they're saying, like my page, exchange likes, and oh my gosh, it's just sad. It's just sad. So what you're putting out with your meal plan strategy, is it worth being liked? Is it worth being shared? And a lot of times it's not. A lot of times it's subpar, and it's just, you're getting started. It takes, to some people, it takes a while until you find your own voice and your own message. And that's okay. There's no shortcuts. You just got to do the work. And if you're thinking, you know what, I really want to do that, but I'm just, feeling a little awkward because I don't have many fans. Sometimes I go there and I post something, and it's like Daniel, when he first created his fan page a few years ago, and his mom was the first one to like his fan page. And he was just hysterical, and he's like, oh my gosh, what should I do?
I didn't give you permission to share that story.
Really? No, I could swear we shared it before, didn't we?
No.
I'm sorry. There you go.
That's out of the bag now, baby.
That's a bonus for you. I know I'm going to pay for this later. Don't worry. So, so think about that, right? It's just funny because you want an arena full of fans, but you still don't know how to sing. Which comes first?
Right.
First, you need to learn how to play, how to sing, and how to entertain. And eventually, because you're so good at it, people will come and pay attention to you, and eventually you'll play at arena, right? So it doesn't happen the other way around. If you're waiting, just sitting at home and waiting until you have 1 million fans before you put out great content, it's not going to work. So just remember, it's all good. It's all part of the natural process of trying and learning. So eventually, when you have 100,000, 500,000, 5 million fans, then you know exactly how to create a video, exactly how to create a post, because you know your audience so well that whatever you put out is going to go viral, right? Because you've done it hundreds or thousands of times and not the other way around.
So before we give you a bonus tip, I want to say one more thing about collabs. In the beginning stages, Every person who asked you to be a guest on their podcast, accept it. And I'll tell you why, because John Lee Dumas is not going to let you on his podcast if you haven't been on 100 podcasts. If you haven't learned how to be on these things, too often we dismiss some of the smaller startups. But remember when we said everyone started at zero? So did the biggest podcasters that you hear. So did the biggest bloggers. So don't sit around waiting for the big one to come, because if you haven't practiced, you're going to be terrible when you get on that big stage. This is from a coach of creatives now. So I'm saying start, if a guy's just starting a podcast, I still to this day, when someone calls up and says, hey, I would love for you to be a guest on my podcast, I do it. You know why? You never know who that person is going to become. And it's one more podcast where I can say, have appeared on over 1,000 podcasts. You can't appear on them until you start showing up to them. So don't discredit anyone out there. I look at, like, some people, the time they have, I'll say, hey, send me an email with some questions, but get interviewed. Let anybody interview you. Let anyone do anything someone can to help you, because it's also a way for you to be able to share on your page. Was so excited. Just got a chance to hang out with Daniel Dent on a podcast. Can't wait to share the episode with you. No one goes to check to see how many followers Daniel Dent has. If I tell my audience I was excited to be on Daniel's podcast and I share a link to his podcast, they just hear the great time that Daniel and I had. So, all right. So that leads us to this bonus tip. Don't worry, Daniel. They're going to forget about your mother right now. Ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, good.
Meet Ricky Suave.
Whoa.
This is me over 30 years, almost 30 years now. When I first got started in radio, I was given the name Ricky Suave. I'm 54 years old, 53 years old. This was back in the 80s. There was a song called Rico Suave, and this is who I was. So I always use this picture because I always like to make fun of myself when doing webinars, when meeting new people, because now it lets me have a really cool conversation with people. It's a tension breaker. It's a icebreaker. It kind of gets things going. Then, if you really want to get going with your fans, share humility. So this picture was taken in January 2019 in Nashville at a thing called Funnel Hacking Live. Now, this young lady gets on stage. Her name's Christy Code Red Nickel, and she walks onto the stage. There's 6,000 people, and she's like, man, Nashville, you guys could stand to lose some weight. And you hear the gasps in the room. And she gets my attention. She's like, some of the men around here have bigger breasts than the women do. And I'm like, oh my gosh, there's 6,000 people here, and she's talking directly to me. So at the end of the presentation, I go out and I say, hey, Christy, I'm the guy with the man boobs that you were talking about. And she stands off a little bit. I said, no. I said, I just want to thank you for being so direct. I said, I have been so frustrated. I said, I go online and I've tried every diet imaginable to man. I was the fat radio DJ that would take all the pills and the tablets and then tell a bunch of people how many pounds I lost. And then I would gain it back and on again, off again. I said, I just don't want to die. She goes, what's the problem? I said, I'm working out 4 days a week and I'm still at the same weight. She's like, Rick, you can't work out and lose weight at the same time. It's almost impossible because your body needs so many calories to repair itself from the workout. Let's start with the nutrition first. She said, can you follow instructions? I said, yes. So I invested in her course. I didn't even ask her what the price was. She started laughing. I said, I don't care. I don't want to be a dead dad. I want to be able to take my shirt off at the beach with my kids. And then 4 months later, I meet one of my heroes, Gary Vaynerchuk. His company had hired my podcast. They wanted to distribute a music industry podcast. I'm 253 pounds in that picture to the left. I'm 210 pounds 4 months later. I'd been trying for 2 years. In 4 months of listening to an expert and following the advice, I was able to be able in Turnip Island, right off of Belize. And I'm not going to show you that picture, guys. Don't worry about it, of me taking my shirt off. But I was able to take my shirt off. And I was able to not be the fat dad. When you get personal with your audience, they're going to get personal with you. And it's going to make all the difference in the world in your relationship. They're going to send you things like, there's this lady that I follow right now on TikTok, and she's been sober for 15 months, and she had some time before and she fell off, and she's sharing her story on TikTok. And I said, from a guy who's got 28 years sobriety, I am so proud of you. Love from Nashville. More people started thanking me for complimenting her. I didn't even compliment those other people. But when you get personal, now I'm not saying throw out your dirty laundry in the first day of your relationship. You know, it took a little while for this to happen. And there's certain things that need to be kept private for various reasons. But when you can inspire someone by your own pain, your own struggle, do you ever notice when you watch these TV shows that before you see someone sing, what do you get? The story. If they cry, they buy. That's what we're taught in the record industry. If they cry, they buy, man. If you can get them tearing up with one of those songs and then let them know there's a t-shirt and you'll be at the merch table. But when you're watching these things that happen in real life, pay attention to your surroundings. Watch what happens. There's always the story first before anything. The guy that's getting ready to play golf, they're going to tell you the story of how he struggled as a child. Those things are real. So we can learn from those people around us. And that's what this whole presentation has been about. You know, this whole thing is that there's places out there. It may not even be your, I got to give this one because Pedro put this in there and I think it's awesome. This is what we want you guys to do. Just go rock on, man. Just go share your story with the world. Find the people that have your audience. Do your collaborations. Get good at this whole process of networking. And don't feel like you're on an island all by yourself. You don't have to. I mean, the tips and the tricks and the secrets and the stuff that we've shared with you guys from how we work with our own clients and our own customers. And now you guys are our clients and our customers. Trust me, we're going to be telling your stories to the next batch of people. Your successes, boom, we're going to be tossing them out there. We're going to let people know. You know, when we did the first rendition of the Celebrity Code and, you know, Stephanie came to us and she was nervous about collaborating. And now Stephanie's one of the top speakers in the world in this space. These are the stories that we want to be able to share of what comes through this. That's why we're getting as personal with you as we are.
Yeah. It's so weird. The more personal you get with people, the deeper those relationships are formed. And we grow up and people say, don't stop talking about yourself. Stop talking about yourself. Stop talking about yourself. Well, guess what? It's not exactly true. Talk about yourself, but in the right context. Talk about yourself in a way that's going to relate to the same struggles that people are going through in the audience that you're trying to attract, and you win. Now, you might be thinking, okay, Daniel and Rick, I want to get these fans faster. I still want that social proof. Is there a way that I can hyper accelerate this growth? Well, everything that we taught in this module was how to do things organically and how to grow real fans. And you can just follow this one module and you can skip the next module, but I don't recommend it. I recommend that you use the next module along with this module, because we're going to teach you some paid strategies where the paid strategies, it's an investment that if when done the right way, it's immediately profitable. Okay. So it's possible for you to, yes, hyper accelerate your growth, take these strategies, add the paid strategies, and every time you put in $1, get $2 or $3 back. And that's why we're so excited to share with you the next step past these tips for also expanding your reach.
Well, it's like I tell artists, they all want the record deal. I said, you've got to create the spark. The organic that we just taught you, that's the spark. What Daniel's going to give you and what we're going to talk about in the next is the gasoline that's ignited our businesses. As we end this video and we end this module, I'm going to give you the same advice that I gave Taylor Swift when her and I first started working together. I said, in your communications with people, because you got to remember, we were there at the beginning of social media. We started with MySpace and we went on. I said, if you always err on the side of humble and gracious, you will always win. And that when you show, that's what Daniel's saying, when you tell your stories and you share these things, there's bragging, that doesn't work. There's being cocky, that doesn't work. Err on the side of humble and gracious, and rock on, and we'll see you in the next module.
All right. Thank you for joining us in this episode of the Marketing Podcast Party. Please share this episode with your friends, family, and business partners. Also, remember that the party continues with your free copy of the Ideas That Influence book and interactive box experience. I wrote the book and created a box experience to help you with even more mildly successful marketing ideas. Head on over to bigideasbox.com to grab your copy. You'll get your copy for free. You just pay shipping and handling costs. Once again, that's bigideasbox.com for your free plus shipping copy of Ideas That Influence. I'm Daniel Din. This is the Marketing Podcast Party, and I'll see you in the next episode.